Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Will Everidge. I am the National Administrator of the Independent American Network, and today we have a special video conference. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over some important aspects of how we're going to go and remake Ian. So there's a lot that we're going to cover. The very first thing that I want to take a look at is Ian Restructured. For those people that are just coming into the Independent American Network, and you need to know who does what, how's everything structured. This is it. This is what you need to pay attention to. So the Independent American Network starts with the senior leadership team. The senior leadership team is led by me, the National Administrator. Will Everidge, National Administrator. The next three people on the list are Terry Everidge, David Bennett, and Mark Berline. These three individuals here have very, very special roles. Terry Everidge is the national director, and what we'll do is after we go through this, we'll go through the definition so you'll have a better understanding of what their roles are. But first there's me, Will Everidge, the national administrator. The national director is second in charge. Her name is Terry Everidge. She happens to be my wife. Um, David Bennett is the national regent and is third in charge. And then you have Mark Berline, who's the chief controller. Under that, you have the rest of the senior leadership team. You have the crisis management department head, Michael Berger, the sales and marketing department head, Chris Strom, and then the accounting and compliance department head. And that particular position is vacant right now, so we're currently looking to fill that position. The first department that we're going to take a look at is by far the most important. This is our crisis management department, and this department is managed by Michael Berger. His department is made up of four teams: the crisis management team, the state leadership team, the national training team, and the national communications team. There's been a couple of changes here. First of all, the crisis management team is vacant, but the state leadership team is now being managed by Catherine Berger. The national training team is headed by the national training officer James Hart, and we have a change at the national communications team. The national communications officer used to be managed by Jeff Beber. I apologize. Larry Locke is now managing the national communications team. In fact, we can go ahead and make that change right now. I believe that's how you spell your name, Larry. If not, please correct me later, and I'll fix that. Moving on to service and production management department. This department at this point is it's not active. No one is in it. Nothing is being done with it. The next department is our sales and marketing department. This department is managed by Chris Strom. Chris has 5 teams within his department: the national sales team, national marketing team, national recruiting team, and the national media team. We'll come back and touch on those in a little bit. And then finally, the grant acquisition team. And let me back up just for a second. The sales and marketing department is very, very important because it's kind of the engine that makes everything else run. This is where our revenue generation occurs. And Chris Strom has a very long history of doing a really good job. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, for those that are kind of wondering, I'm recording this outside. So if you happen to hear dogs, kids, or airplanes, that's because I'm outside enjoying the beautiful fall weather. Now moving on, that's the sales and marketing department. Also, you might have noticed if you've been with Ian for a long time, I did a lot of consolidation and restructuring and streamlining of Ian to make sure that we operate as smoothly and efficiently as possible. Before this, we had 8 teams and 8 departments and 24 teams. We've cut that way down. The next department that we're going to talk about is the accounting and compliance department. Obviously, it handles the accounting and compliance issues with the organization. After that is the information technology department. And this department is managed by Jason, and Jason has 4 teams within his department: research and development, network systems, communication systems, and web management. Then this is something that's a little new also. Some of the teams within the different departments, I broke them away and put them as separate programs. These are standalone programs that are not in a particular department or on a particular team. They're a standalone program, and they answer directly to, and I'll scroll back up here for everyone, they answer directly to the national director. That's Terry Everidge. So if you manage a particular program, not team or department, but program, then you'll be working directly with my wife, Terry Everidge. And these are the different programs that we have right now that are active within the organization. We have the Veterans Guard, which is managed by John Simon, the Ian Express, which is vacant at the moment, the IERP program, and the Community Shield program. These programs are just a few of the many programs that will be operational by spring. We have a lot to do. This here is kind of a team breakdown. This gives everybody an idea of what positions are within each of these teams. So the crisis management team, you have the team leader, chief operator, CERT operator, chief medical officer, medical assistant, and quartermaster. State leadership team has regional director, state director, county coordinator, national training team, team leader, regional training officer, and state training officer. National communications teams, you have your regional communications officer and your state communications officer. And for those that have been around a while, it used to be where we just had state leaders, not so much regional. And what happened is, due to the vastness of our country, to try to find 50 state directors or 50 state training officers, it was very, very, very difficult. So I had to take a step back and think, okay, so we need to manage on a little bit larger scale and then down to the micro level. So that's the reason for the regional training officer. If you look here at the national training team, you have the regional training officer and then the state training officer. So you start at the regional level, and then as we have people that are willing to take on and are suited to take on those responsibilities at the state level, the regional training officer can appoint those individuals, train those individuals, and support those individuals as they perform their tasks. So keeping that in mind, as we go through here, we try to break things up on a regional, state, and then eventually a county level. So the national communications team, regional communications officer, state communications officer, service management team. And I'll try to go through it so you guys can kind of keep up where I'm at. So service management team, team leader, national facility supervisor, and academy commander. Again, the service management team is another team that is not active at the moment simply because we don't have the facilities to where they'd be needed. Again, production management team, same situation, national manufacturing manager and national agricultural manager. And moving down, national sales team. You have the team leader, the account manager, B&B. The B&B aspect of it, the account manager, and we'll go into this a little bit more in detail, but the account manager is the ones that go out face-to-face and deal with shops and stores and those types of things to get the donation barrels and the donation buckets set up within those establishments. That's what the account manager does. Then you have the events coordinator. They handle the raffles. They go to special events, commercial telesales, private telesales, direct commercial, and direct sales private. That's sales. National marketing is much simpler. You have your team leader, cyber sales supervisor, and media marketing specialist. National recruiting team, your team leader. Again, you have your recruiting officer and onboarding coordinator. Those are going to be really, really important moving forward for bringing on new members. National media team, your team leader, editor-in-chief, editor fact-checker, graphic artist, photographer, and columnist. Grant acquisition team, you have your team leader, you have your grant writer, and your research specialist. Then you have your national accounting team, which is your team leader, payroll supervisor, national compliance team leader, and HR supervisor. Research and development team, your team leader, energy specialist, communication specialist, and special projects. Network systems team leader, Network System Specialist, Cybersecurity Chief. Communication Systems, Team Leader and Comm Systems Specialist. Web Management Team, Team Leader and Webmaster. And we're going to go ahead and come on down. Those are the different teams and departments within Ian. Again, if you've been here for a while, you'll notice that, hey, that's actually a lot smaller than what it looked like, or what it used to be. In fact, give me just a second. I'll pull up a copy of what we used to be. And so this is what the organization used to be. Okay, and as we kind of scroll down, you'll notice that this is enormous, it's complex, and it's not very streamlined. So that's what the organization used to look like. Now we are much more structured, and we've added programs. So here's a breakdown of the different the programs. The Veterans Guard program, you have the program manager, and then you have the veteran advocate. The program manager is the person that actually manages the Veterans Guard. The veteran advocate is the person that's out on the street helping the veterans. Okay, that's, if you're a veteran advocate, you're out on the street. If you're a program manager, you can be out on the street, but you're managing the veteran advocate and the program in general. Next, we have the Ian Express program. The Ian Express program is a nationwide network of writers that belong to this program. The program manager will manage the writers and the program. The writers will be bringing communications by hand on horseback from coast to coast, east to west, north to south. The IERP program, or the Individual Emergency Response Program, is just managed by the program manager. Same thing with the Community Shield. Now, the Community Shield will be actually operated by the county coordinators, and the program manager, along with the Master State Director, the regional directors, and the state directors, will all kind of work together. But at the county level, and we'll go into this a little bit later on, they'll be managing a lot. Okay? So the county coordinator in the new system is going to be critical to our success, and we need to make sure that we have the right people in place to do that. Positions at a glance. This kind of gives you an idea of what each position within the organization. So the National Administrator is the Chief Executive of the entire Ian organization and has direct oversight over all Ian-related matters. Other important duties include appointing and terminating all department heads, members on the Board of Directors, and support staff. The National Administrator is charged with creating committees and appointing committee chairpersons, programs and program managers, and special campaigns. That's me. That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to be doing every day. The National Director. The National Director is second only to the National Administrator in name and authority. The National Director is also the National Administrator's proxy when the National Administrator is unavailable or unreachable due to vacation, emergency, sickness, death, or any other reason that might prevent the National Administrator from adequately fulfilling the role. The only time this is not the case is when the position of National Director is vacant or the National Administrator appoints another member, usually the National Regent, who is third in the line of succession. The National Director is also charged with the responsibility of managing all Ian projects. All project managers report directly to the National Director. We talked about that earlier. So if you're a project manager, you report directly to the National Director. The National Director reports directly to me, the National Administrator. The National Regent. The National Regent is third in succession. The National Regent is directly responsible, and folks, you'll see this word succession come up every now and then. If in the event of an emergency, if something were to happen to me, something were to happen to Terry, something were to happen to David, okay, then we need a line of succession to know who's in charge, who's going to be managing the organization if something were to happen to the other leaders of the organization. Okay, so the National Regent, and let me kind of scroll up here for a moment. Okay, so The national regent is third in succession. The national regent is directly responsible for the overall health, vitality, and expansion of Ian. The national regent is also responsible for ensuring that all members, volunteers, interns, and employees adhere to Ian policies and procedures. The national regent is also the organization's ambassador to other companies, organizations, and government agencies. The national regent also has the responsibility to handle all public relation concerns. Okay, that's what the national regent is supposed to do. The chief controller. The chief controller controls, manages the day-to-day operations of the Independent American Network. The chief controller is directly responsible for the day-to-day operations of each department and team. Okay, notice that it didn't say program. Okay, the chief controller does not manage the programs or the program managers. The chief controller is directly responsible for the day-to-day operations of each department and team. The chief controller is a person that the department heads come to first when they need executive level assistance. The chief controller has executive administrative authority, which is authorized by the national administrator. Okay. Next, the next level that we're going to be talking about are the department heads. The department head is the chief executive of their department and is authorized to manage their department as they see fit, as long as their actions are in compliance with Ian rules, charter, applicable regulation, governing their department, and local, state, and federal law. It is understood that it is critical to clearly communicate with other department heads and senior corporate leadership to maintain an effective and cohesive organization. Department heads, that's your job. That's what you do. Crisis management coordinator. When I first developed, this structure, I foresaw the crisis management coordinator as being very, very critical in a lot of different situations. So the crisis management coordinator. The crisis management coordinator is the team leader of the crisis management team, which is comprised of 8 crisis management officers, chief quartermaster, 8 regional quartermaster chiefs medical officers, and 8 regional medical officers, 50 state medical officers. Okay, so we're going to back up just a second. This is an old definition. This is the crisis management coordinator is the chief, the team leader of the crisis management team. But these additional individuals, and I'll put this in here. This I'm going to revamp because 8 crisis management officers. That's not going to be the case. Chief quartermaster. There will be a chief quartermaster, 8 regional quartermasters. That's not going to be the case. So this here, disregard my last. This all needs to be revamped. The crisis management coordinator, I will update this and then post it later on. But for now, the crisis management coordinator is the team leader of the crisis management team, and leave it at that. The rest of this definition needs to be revamped again. Chief operator. The chief operator manages all aspects regarding the CERT operators and CERT teams, including training, promotions, exercises, standards, etc. The only time this is not the case is once a team or operator is activated. Once activated, they are under the direct supervision of the county coordinator. So, a chief operator, if somebody wants to be a CERT operator, they come to the chief operator. Okay, they don't, let me back this up a little bit. Okay, the crisis management coordinator, okay, they don't come to the crisis management coordinator. I want to be a CERT operator. I come down and I talk to the chief operator. I say, hey, chief, here's the deal. I want to be an operator. The chief operator will say, fine, send me your resume. Okay. After the chief operator approves it, the chief operator then sends his approval to the crisis management coordinator. The crisis management coordinator will authorize it, and then the chief management coordinator will then send that to the county coordinator. The county coordinator, not the crisis management coordinator, gets to make the final decision. The county coordinator has the final say on who is and who is not on a CERT team. The county coordinator is the person that coordinates the efforts of the CERT team once they've been activated. The county coordinator is the person that has the authorization to activate either an operator or a CERT team. The county coordinator, think of it like this. I am the governor of Ohio, and I want to activate the National Guard. I have the authorization to do that as governor. As the county coordinator, you have the same authority to do that. Can the crisis management coordinator do it? Absolutely. Can the chief operator activate a CERT team or CERT operator? Absolutely. If the county coordinator is up and running and they're able to communicate, which they should be able to, they are the ones that should be activating, distributing, and giving orders to the operator or CERT team. I want to make sure everybody's perfectly clear on that. The county coordinator is the senior level commander, okay, within that county. Not the chief operator, not the crisis management coordinator. The county coordinator is the senior commander within their respective counties. All right, so I think I beat that dead horse enough. We're going to go ahead and move on. CERT operator. The CERT operator is the smallest CERT unit. CERT, or Security and Emergency Response Team operators, provide physical security for all EN facilities and mobile medical stations. CERT operators also have other critical missions such as search and rescue, evacuation, transportation, and delivery. And when I talk about delivery and transportation, I'm talking about transporting supplies, about transporting other CERT operators or people on the med team, or delivery of food, water, medicine to an area that's been devastated by some type of natural disaster or emergency. So all CERT operators or just operators are required to acquire certain certifications such as first aid, CPR, search and rescue, land navigation, FCC ham radio operator license, EN leadership certification, and Bushmaster certification. An operator who has no certifications will be known as a CERT cadet or cadet. Operators will achieve a higher rank with a combination of each new certification with time and rank. So I'm just off the turnip truck. I have no military experience. I have no law enforcement experience. I have no first responder experience. I have no certifications. I'm a cadet. I come out and I've got 20 years in the Marine Corps. I'm not a cadet. You have other certifications that will equal that. Or I've been a law enforcement officer for 10 years. You're not a cadet. You have other certifications that will equal those here. And so, but with time and rank, and we'll have another video conference regarding how the CERT is actually managed. But time and rank, and then the certifications will determine what your rank is within the team or within the organization. So that's the CERT operator. Chief Medical Officer. The Chief Medical Officer is responsible for managing all state medical officers in the safe zones and in the field. The CMO will be responsible for achieving medical teams and deploying them in the event of an emergency. The Chief Medical Officer will work with the medical training officers to establish medical protocols, training, and alike. The Chief Medical Officer is essentially runs the med team, okay? Medical officer. The medical officer is responsible for providing direct medical aid to members who've been affected by an emergency. This person will hold a significant medical designation such as medical doctor, nurse practitioner, registered nurse, LPN, medic, EMT, or alike. Medical assistant. The medical assistant provides direct support of an injured member, providing comfort and conducting basic services like taking vitals and updating charts and updating the medical officer. Quartermaster. The quartermaster sets up the mobile medical stations, provide clerical services as intake and other services as needed. Master State Director. The Master State Director is the team leader of the state leadership team and directly oversees each of the 50 state directors and each regional director. The MSD provides training and guidance for new state and regional directors as well as assisting others with managing and developing their territories. The MSD is also responsible for holding meetings with the state and regional directors to address any issues or concerns facing the team. The MSD may create committees to address these issues. Also, something that I didn't put in here and I should have is, in addition to the regional and state directors, the county coordinators fall under the direction of the Master State Director. Okay, so county coordinators, state and regional directors all fall under this team. The regional director. The regional director is responsible for managing and developing their region. They are the they're the chief executive of their region and are authorized to manage their region in any manner in which they see fit, as long as they comply with the laws and EN mandates. They will ensure that the regional members are properly educated and trained and prepared to deal with differing crisis situations or varying degrees. They will appoint their state directors to help in this effort. The regional director will work with all members of the leadership team to ensure that everyone is on the same page and moving in the same direction. Okay, so the master state director manages all regional directors, all state directors, and all county coordinators. Okay, so the master director says you are authorized to be a regional director. Once that master state director has authorized a regional director, the regional director is now the chief executive of the states that are located in that region. They can appoint their own state directors. But keep in mind, they're responsible for the efforts of those state directors. So when the master state director comes to a regional director and says, okay, you've got 5 states, what's going on within those 5 states, the regional director needs to know. The regional director and the state directors and the county coordinators have to work together very, very closely. The state director is a regional director at the state level. Once a state director has appointed a county coordinator, so if I want to be a county coordinator and there's no state director or regional director, you go to the master state director, and the master state director can appoint a county coordinator. A state director can appoint a county coordinator, and a regional director can appoint a county coordinator. Okay, just so everybody's clear on the pecking order. The county coordinator, though, is a very, very special. It's different than the regional director and the state director and the master state director, because the county coordinator is going to be managing a lot of different components at the county level. The county coordinator is responsible for managing and developing their respective county. They are also responsible for managing their county community shield program. As part of that program, each county coordinator will directly manage their county team, which includes as many CERT teams, med teams, and other support personnel as may be needed. The county coordinator is directly responsible for developing a strong relationship with the church that they will partner with. The county coordinator will also be responsible for holding weekly meetings and monthly training for all county members. The CC is also responsible for managing all assets at the church. So here's the deal, gang. We're going to go over the new programs and like the Community Shield. But keep in mind, we're now going down to the micro level, the county level. The county coordinator is going to have their own county CERT team. They're going to have their own county med team. They're going to have their own county communications team. They're going to have their own county training team. These teams, they report upwards to their the communications team. Okay, the national communications team, the national training team, they all fall under those individually, but at the local level, they all answer to the county coordinator, and they're all part of the county team. So as a county coordinator, I have a CERT team. Or I may have 7 CERT teams within my county because I do a really good job of recruiting. I got lucky, and I've got a retired major in the Marine Corps who's going to manage my county CERT teams, get them trained, and get them organized. That's fantastic. I have 7 county CERT teams. I also have 6 med teams with medical officers and quartermasters and medical assistants. Those are my county teams. Those are my county assets that I get to manage when a crisis happens. So the reason why I put the county coordinator ahead of everybody else in the CERT line chain of command is because he or she is going to be the boots on the ground. That county coordinator is going to have to coordinate at the county level. They're going to have to actually coordinate the CERT teams at the county level, the med teams at the county level, and make sure that they work together. Okay? Now, they'll be communicating with the Crisis Information Center, but they've got to have final say on the ground. That's why the county coordinator is so vitally important. So when we're looking to put people in the county coordinator role, we need to look good and hard. They need to apply for this position, and we need to be real critical of who we put here, because this is really the brand new groundwork, the foundation of Ian as we move forward. The county coordinator is going to be the most critical element to our entire structure. The entire corporate structure that we have set up, the county coordinator is going to be the foundation of all of that. So we've got to make sure we do a good job with putting the right people in charge of those. They're going to be holding the weekly meetings. Do they have time? Can you show up every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, at the church? Because this is where we're going to have our meetings. Do you have time to make sure that people went out the week before and put flyers on the doors in the neighborhood so you have people to come in? Do you have time to keep the inventory, of all the food and medical supplies and clothing and things that are being dumped off in our donation bins? The county coordinator is going to be a really, really critical person, not only for command and control, but to manage the assets within that county. So again, the county coordinator is huge. Now, moving on. I beat that horse to death, I guess. So the National Training Officer. The NTO is the team leader of the National Training Team and directly oversees each of the 50 state training officers and each regional training officer. Okay, so everybody knows James Hart is the most amazing National Training Officer in the history of training. So we're fortunate enough to have him on our team. So when you say, well, the county coordinator has, a training officer there locally at the county level, yes, they do. And that county training officer still reports up to James Hart. Okay, so that whoever you have that's doing the local training there at the county level, they report up to the state training officer, up to the regional training officer, and eventually up to James Hart. He has say in all of that. Okay, so just keep in mind the county level is kind of like a mini Ian within itself, but they all report upwards. And then, of course, they all take direct supervision from the county coordinator. That needs to be real clear. Regional training officer. The regional training officer will take direct. So the regional training officer, it's a training officer. I'll just kind of be real brief. The regional training officer takes care of all the training within the states that they manage. The state training officer does the exact same thing at the state level. National Communications Officer. The National Communications Officer is the team leader of the National Communications Team and responsible for recruiting and training FCC licensed ham operators, which will act as EN communications infrastructure. So the National Communications Officer, and again, this is Larry. Larry has a very important job also. So Larry's job is to find these FCC ham radio operators. There's a lot of us out there. But not all of us are really all that into emergency management or prepping or whatever. So he's got to find these people, bring them into the group, make sure they're trained and they understand how EN works. Then he has to make sure that they have protocols in place when the crap hits the fan and it's time to go. Do they know? Okay, Jason, I got your message. Not a problem. So when things happen, they need to be ready to go. So Larry needs to be able to train these people. They need to know how EN works, and he needs to help get protocols in place. So when it hits the fan, we're still able to communicate as an organization, just like the EN Express program, coast to coast, north to south, east to west. And then after he has them all trained and ready to go, now he has to make sure that all the EN members know how to purchase ham radios, get them programmed, which, by the way, is a pain in the butt, and know how to use them effectively. So it's really important that Larry does a good job so that everybody else can do their job. That's the National Communications Officer. The Regional and State Communications Officer, they do exactly the same thing, just on a smaller level at the regional and state bases. The National Facilities Supervisor, actually, we're not even going to talk about that because it's not active yet. Academy Commander, don't need to talk about that yet because it's not active. National Manufacturing Manager, don't need to talk about it. Again, we don't need to talk about anything else until we get down to the National Sales Manager. National Sales Manager is the team leader of the National Sales Team and is responsible for meeting and exceeding all sales goals for EN. Of course, Chris Strom will make sure that happens. The account manager will work with the national sales manager and develop a sales strategy to approach businesses with the objective of placing donation boxes and barrels and magazine racks in their retail establishments. Event coordinator. The event coordinator will be responsible for attending special events, setting up our EN tent or stand or booth. The goal is to raise awareness about our organization, sell products, and recruit new members. The EC will also will hold monthly raffles to raise additional revenue. Commercial telesales rep. The CTR is responsible for calling businesses on the phone and soliciting donations to support our efforts. Private sales rep. The PTR is responsible for calling individuals on the phone and soliciting donations, again, to support our efforts. Direct commercial sales. Let me scroll up a little bit. Okay, so direct sales commercial. The DSC will approach businesses with the intent of acquiring either financial support or item donation. Direct sales private, DSP, will go door to door, soliciting individuals for financial support or financial support for our mission. National Marketing Manager. The National Marketing Manager is the team leader of the national marketing team and is responsible for meeting and exceeding all meeting goals. All marketing goals for Ian. Cyber Sales Supervisor. The CSP is responsible for working with the IT department and the accounting and compliance department with managing the Ian outpost, developing relationships with all of our vendors, and ensuring that our consumers are well served. Media Marketing Specialist. The MMS is responsible for selling ads on our website and our Preppers Paradise magazine. The MMS will also work with the account managers to ensure that our magazines are delivered properly. National Recruiting Officer. The NRO is the team leader of the national recruiting team and is responsible for training and managing recruiting officers. The NRO is also responsible for developing and executing, with the help of recruiting officers, all national recruiting campaigns. The NRO will assume three primary roles. The first is recruiting. The NRO will engage in regular recruiting efforts for all states. Second, the NRO will recruit new recruiting officers. Third, the NRO will train the new recruiting officers and certify them to recruit for Ian. If the NRO notices that someone is violating recruiting protocols, the NRO may suspend their ability to recruit and has the authority to suspend all recruiting at any time. Of course, not really much has changed in the NRO role. The recruiting officers. Okay, this kind of gives an outline of how the recruiting is going to work moving forward. The RO or RO is responsible for recruiting and vetting new Ian members. The RO will use only Ian approved recruiting tools such as official Ian recruiting video, Ian approved brochures, Ian welcome video, and new Ian webpage. Our primary target market will be those people who are already involved with prepping and who can be found in our local communities. Notice, our primary target market was those people that were online, that were on Facebook, that were in social media. We're taking a paradigm shift, guys. We're going completely away from that for our primary target. Now, we're still going to target them. Our primary target market will be those people who are already involved with prepping and who can be found in our local communities, our neighborhoods. Our secondary target market will be the very large market on social media. So we're going to stay with that. We're not going to go with it, but we're going to concentrate on those people that are in our people that we can see every day. We can touch, we can shake hands, we can get out there and practice with and learn face to face. That's who we need. It's a complete paradigm shift. So we will work with the event coordinator to market to prospect at local events by setting up tables, booth, or tent. The recruiting officer will work at the county level distributing flyers door to door on cars in parking lots and at special events. Recruiting officers are not authorized, let me say it again, recruiting officers are not authorized to attend any event without event coordinator or with special authorization from the department head. So if you're a department head and the RO comes up and says, hey, I got this event coming up, can I go? You're authorized to give them permission to do that. They're not authorized to go just grab some flyers and run out to the county fairgrounds. That's not authorized. Department heads, you have to keep a real close eye on this. The RO will identify a high probability site to post a link to our recruiting video, which will be uploaded to YouTube. The recruiting video will drive interested candidates to our welcome video on our website. There they will watch the welcome video and decide if they want to join now, get more information, or not join at all. If they choose more information, your national recruiting officer will be notified. The NRO will either contact the candidate directly or refer them to the RO in that candidate's state. If the RO receives a lead, the RO will contact the candidate as soon as possible and provide additional information. After the discussion, the RO will use their best judgment to decide if the candidate would be a good fit for Ian. Okay, so this is I got to stop here and talk about this, guys. So if you're a RO and you're talking to somebody, you've gone through the 22 questionnaires, they've passed that, everything is good, but for some reason they have a problem with not Well, I don't believe on being online. I can never be online, guys. That's how we communicate. If you're a recruiting officer and you're talking to somebody, and let's say they, you know, decide, well, I can only, make a meeting once every couple weeks. They're not a good fit, guys. Don't sign them up. Don't even consider it. Hey, listen, it's really not a good fit for you because we communicate a lot on our online on Microsoft, and we really need to, got to get a commitment, guys. If they're not willing to commit, then we're not going to commit to them. It's a two-way street. If they want help and they want training, guys, the level of training and education that's available through our organization is bar none top notch. Okay, we've got a lot to offer people. If they don't want access to that, we're not jumping through hoops for them. They need us way more than we need them. Okay, so if you're a recruiting officer, if they're not willing to commit, neither are we. Hey, shake their hand, say, hey, thanks so much for it's probably not a good fit. Best of luck to you. If they are, the recruiting officer will have the candidate return to the welcome video and select Join Now. The row will walk the new member through the entire onboarding process until it is time to register for their Microsoft and Google licenses. At that point, the row will hand over the new member to the onboarding coordinator. The onboarding coordinator is a brand new position, gang. We've not had one before this time, and that's my fault. I should have done this from the get-go, and I don't know why I didn't. So you are the recruiting officer. So you've gone through the recruiting and you've gone through the onboarding process. They passed the 22 questions. You think, hey, this guy's or gal is a really good fit. So now it's time to set them up with their licenses for Google and Microsoft. At this point, you put them in touch with the onboarding coordinator. The onboarding coordinator takes it from there. The recruiting officer goes back to recruiting. You're done. Now, at this point, the OC or the onboarding coordinator will issue each new member their own Microsoft and Google license and ensure that they are able to log into Microsoft 365 and access their EnPrep Gmail. Once this is accomplished, the OC will give a tour of their new Microsoft home to ensure they know how all the tools work and introduce them to their state or regional director. This is really critical, guys. So the OC, when they first meet them, either in person or online, they're going to go and walk them through step by step. Hey, this is your username and password. Can you get in? Here's a test email. Did you get it in? Okay, so you got your email. Fantastic. There are people that are still members of our organizations that have never, ever logged in to their Gmail. Not once, ever. That's a problem. Because when something critical needs to go out, that's how we're going to communicate with them. If they're on vacation, they need to be able to check in. But it's Gmail, guys. You can check in on your Gmail anywhere in the world. All you need is access to your cell phone and a signal. That's it. They have to be able to do this. So the OC is going to take them by the hand, get them set up with their Microsoft and Google, and then they're going to take them on a tour. They're going to show them everything they ever wanted to know about our brand new Microsoft Home, including our virtual training academy, the Yammer, everything. So they're going to be very, very well versed on where everything is, and they're going to have them watch a couple of videos. This is going to be one of those videos. All new members have to watch this video so they understand exactly how we're set up. So now, after saying that, what the OC is going to do is introduce them to their either state director or regional director. The regional director moving forward is going to be helping them get along and make sure that they're kind of plugged into their training. They know who their county coordinator is, and so on and so forth. So from the recruiting officer to the onboarding coordinator to the state director or regional director, that's how we're going to hand off each individual member, so they don't get lost in the shuffle. And then the regional director, state director, and county coordinator is going to stay in touch with these people every week. You're going to get to know who your members are. You have to know who your members are. That's how you're going to be able to set up training. You're going to be able to develop trust and get things moving in the right direction. It has to happen this way. When it doesn't happen this way, people get lost in the shuffle, people get disinterested, and then they leave the organization. We lose good people because no one cares enough to get involved with them. That has to stop. So that's the process of onboarding new members. The next, editor-in-chief. The chief editor manages the Prepper's Paradise magazine. They manage the entire, the editor-in-chief is the chief executive of the magazine. Managing editor is second in charge. Editor fact-checker, the columnists, they create their columns and they send it to the editor fact checker. They make sure it's good. They send it on to the graphic artist. The graphic artist adds different photos or images and make sure everything looks nice. And then that goes to the managing editor, editor-in-chief, authorizes everything, and then it goes to print. That's how the magazine works. Now we're going to get into the grant writing. The senior grant writer is the team leader of the grant acquisition team. The SGW provides direct support and supervision to the entire team. Grant writer, real simple. Grant writer, he writes the grants. The research specialist does all the research for the grant writer to make sure that the grant writer has all the information that they need to write and submit and then execute the grant. Payroll supervisor, they take care of payroll. Chief compliance officer, they deal with all legal issues. HR supervisor, they handle all human resources issues. Research and development manager, they manage the research and development projects. Energy specialist, they are going to deal with any type of energy products. Comms specialist, comms. Special projects, they handle special projects with research and development. Network system supervisor, they're going to manage our networks for our, I had that in there twice for some reason. Well, I'm sorry, network supervisors are going to manage the networks. Network system specialists will be helping. Cybersecurity chief is going to be handling the cybersecurity. Communication system supervisor will make sure all the communications with any facilities are taken care of. Communication system specialist will assist. Web management supervisor will manage all of our websites. Webmaster will assist. Veterans Guard program manager. This program manager oversees the entire program. The VGPM has two primary roles. One, the VGPM will train each of the veteran advocates, and two, will ensure that they are properly supported. The veteran advocates, again, we discussed this earlier, they're the boots on the ground. They're the ones out there that are providing services to our veterans. EN Express program manager, they manage the EN Express program. Pretty simple. EN Express writers, they're the ones that actually take the hand-delivered messages from coast to coast, north to south, east to west. The IERP program manager manages the Individual Emergency Response Program. Community Shield Program, the CSPM manages the entire nationwide program. The CSPM will work directly with the county coordinators to ensure that they are properly supported as they manage this program at the local county level. The CSMP does not take over the role of the master state director, regional directors, or state directors. The CSPM directly works with special situations like the relationship between the church and the CSPM. So they help. They're less of a manager and more of a assistant to the county coordinators to help them get what they need. So, and that, ladies and gentlemen, and I know it was really long-winded, and I apologize for that, but it's vitally important that each member understands exactly how EN is restructured and how it works and how everybody works together, because this is one big machine and we're all little cogs inside making sure that it works properly. Okay, so that is EN Restructured. Now, let me sit here. Before we go on, does anybody have any questions? The floor is open for questions about EN Restructured. Let's get it all out on the floor now. Anybody have any questions at all? Okay. All right, so we're going to move on. That was EN Restructured, and let me check one thing, make sure that we're still good on the recording. And we are. Okay. So that takes care of EN Restructured. Now, keep in mind we're recording this, so we're going to go ahead and put this up on the side as soon as it gets finished with the recording. Next thing is the Community Readiness Program. The Community Readiness Program, we've discussed this before, but what this is a flyer that at the county level we take out to the different neighborhoods, and we put them on cars and parking lots. We hang them on doors in our neighborhoods. This is how we recruit at the neighborhood or county level. Okay, so you put this on a car, you put this on a door, they pick it up, and it kind of explains what EN is, and it tells you what you need to do to get back in touch with EN so we can get you plugged in. This isn't the final product, because what we're going to do is we're going to have the address and name of the church and the time where we meet. Okay, so they know where to go. It'll also have our contact phone number so they can call in, or it'll have our web address so they can go in and learn more about Ian before they actually go out and meet people. So this is a recruiting tool that we use at the county level to get people involved in the community readiness program. Okay, so any questions on how this program works? Okay, so let me kind of give a brief overview. So let's say I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I don't have a lot of people in my community to train with, study with, be active with. What I can do as an Ian member is, what I'll do is first I want to get in touch with Terry Everidge. Okay, and I want to say, Terry, hey, I want this community readiness program. I need a promo code, because what she's going to do, she's going to give you a promo code, and let's say that Terry gives you the promo code of 1567. That promo code is going to be attached to your name and your community. So when people call in, okay, they'll say, yeah, my promo code is 1567. Now what we're going to do for that is we're going to waive this $10 fee, okay, and that's going to allow people to come on board free of charge for the first year to kind of give a test drive. And this 1567, we know that 1567 belongs to Will Everidge in Cincinnati, Ohio, so we know what church to send them to and who to connect with. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And that is the community readiness program. That's how that works. I print out as many flyers as I want. I hang them on the doors. People call in. They go on the website, or they come to the meeting, the weekly meeting there at the county level, and they get involved. All right. So again, that's the community readiness program, and it ties directly in. Let me get rid of this. The community readiness program ties right into the community shield. Okay, so the community shield is the people that want to participate in the community readiness program. This is where they go. They go to the church in their communities, and this is where we hold our meetings, our trainings. This is where we can come together out of the elements, get together. We can grill out. We can have training. We can do the meetings. We can do all these different things, and we have a place to go. In addition, now we have a place where we can store all of our food, all of our clothing, where we can meet, that kind of thing. So we work with churches. They have the facilities. If you kind of look down, the community readiness program kind of ties into the community shield program. And it's a really nice match, not made in heaven, but on earth. That's kind of a funny take on religion. So in any case, what the churches offer, they have the facilities to feed the community. They have the facilities to feed homeless veterans. You know, our Veterans Guard, we have a place to take these people and say, hey, listen, your clothes are pretty beat up. Okay, that means that we don't have to take all this clothing and food and house it in our house. We have a place to take it now. And all we have to do is we find these veterans, they're homeless, we say, hey, listen, you need some new clothes. Let's go try some new clothes. Here's some food, here's some water, here's some, okay, so you're sick, maybe we'll give you some, medicine, some Tylenol, whatever. So we have a place now to store all of this. We have also, if they're hungry, we can come, we can have maybe, meals, once a month, where we can have, a big dinner for homeless veterans. We have a place to do these things. So we also have a facility for the outreach program. So one of the outreach programs is the self-defense program, women's self-defense program. These are services or outreach programs that we can offer to the community. So not only does it benefit us because they can come in and then maybe we can recruit them. Hey, what else do you guys do? Oh, you do emergency management. You do prepping, things of that nature. Well, I've always wanted to do that. Well, it's right here in your community. So this is a really good opportunity for Ian, along with churches, to really work together and help out, because these people that we bring in off the street, they may join the church. The church thinks that's a really fantastic deal. So we have different goals, somewhat. Ian, many of us are Christians, but Ian's job isn't to go out and save souls. Okay, we're for emergency management, but the church does. The church, one of their big things is we want to save souls. We want to get people in and save them. That's fantastic. some things that we can do is bring in new members. So it's a good fit for both us and the church, because a lot of people are saying, well, why would a church want to get involved? Because we complement each other really, really well. And this is the Community Shield, okay, or the Community Shield program. That's kind of how it works, and that's how it benefits both Ian and the church. Before we move on, any questions about any of this? Okay, good. All right, so we're moving right along. So that takes care of the Community Shield. What else do we have? Ian mission statement. This is our new mission statement moving forward. I posted this earlier. The mission of the Independent American Network is to enhance the quality of life and safety of our members and our neighborhoods and homeless veterans throughout our great country. Guys, if nothing else, please beat this into your heads. If an emergency were to occur in your neighborhood, your neighbor is going to either be your worst enemy or your best friend. When things get really bad, it's nice to be able to go next door to your neighbor and bang on the door. They know you. You know them. Well, you'll know, first of all, should you go and bang on their door in the first place. Getting out and getting to know your neighbors is huge. You've got to know who your neighbors are. To the left of you, to the right of you, and across the street, get to know your neighbors. And, let them know what you do. Hey, listen, I belong to a nonprofit emergency management organization. We do prepping and free training and everything. Would you be interested? If we have an emergency here locally, we can depend on each other. Let's get trained. This is our mission. This is what we all should be doing, regardless if you're just a regular member or if you're the national administrator. I know my neighbors. You should know your neighbors too. You need to. So, in addition, our mission, we will accomplish our mission through programs such as Veterans Guard, Individual Emergency Response Program, and the Community Readiness Program. I'll let you read the rest of this, gang, but this is our mission. This is who we are, and this is what we do. Before I move on, do we have any questions about the mission statement? Okay, moving right along. Okay, this next part, as part of our endeavor to go out and get grants, large and small, we need to put together a business plan because it's going to be required. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what it kind of looks like, what other people are going to see on the first page or the first couple pages. Pretty simple. Not a whole lot. Just kind of gives our mission statement, table of contents, and so on. But right now, I'm about a third way down on this, so as soon as I get it completed, I will upload it for everybody to see. And then, of course, we've simplified our logo. You can see on my desktop our old logo. We still use it. This still represents the original teams and departments within Ian, but we simplified it for business purposes on the business aspect side of it. This real simple, IAN, 3 diamonds, very, very simple, very clean, and that's what we're going to use. So, but that's all I have for you today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting unless someone has something to ask, questions, concerns, criticism. If you have something, now would be the time to share. Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Yeah, Will?
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, is this available to us to print out the mission statement and everything?
I think it is. I think I've uploaded the mission statement. Go to the main page and look under the Files tab.
Okay.
If it's not there, I'm pretty sure I did. I thought I uploaded the mission statement and our new logo in case somebody wanted to use it. If it's not there, let me know and I'll upload it. No biggie.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions before I close it down? Okay, gang. Well, thanks so much for participating. All new members, make sure that, well, all members, period, please make sure that you watch this. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. I know it's kind of long, but a lot of good information, and this will kind of help everybody have a much better understanding of how Ian works. So that's it for now. Thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend.